Welcome to CPAC Now. I'm your host, Coleton Furlow. We are here at CPAC Texas in Dallas, Texas at the Hilton Anatole, and I am very excited for this next interview. We have Carol Tobias, who is the president of the National Right to Life Committee. Carol, thank you for being here. Thank you for being at CPAC. How has your experience been so far?
It's great. Everybody is having a good time and learning and eager to make a difference when they go back home.
Everyone seems motivated, especially for these upcoming elections here too.
Yes.
So, we're going to be talking about abortion, the Right to Life Committee. Can you give me just a little insight of what this committee does?
National Right to Life is the nation's oldest pro-life organization, been in existence since 1968, long before Roe v. Wade. But we had people around the country that knew something was coming because there were efforts in the states to change the laws. So we've been working, we have an affiliate in each of the states. We work on legislation, both at the federal and state level. We work to elect pro-life candidates, and of course a large part is education. Too many people don't understand or recognize the humanity of the unborn child and why they should be protected.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very huge topic in our country right now. Obviously, Roe v. Wade has been overturned. I was there the day that it was overturned, and it was one of the most incredible moments ever. CPAC and myself have been out on the streets interviewing people regarding the abortion situation, and it's always the loudest people who are on the wrong side. So you look at them, I think they're I think they're pro-abortion. They're not pro-choice because they don't believe in giving women other choices. Would you have to agree with that? So CPAC has been in the front lines with the abortion fight, and I personally have been out in the streets with CPAC, and our cameraman Aaron do these man-on-the-street interviews. And it seems like the people there at SCOTUS are the loudest people with the megaphones and everything. They're getting the most attention, but they're few. And the majority of America is actually more pro-life than what the media makes it out to be.
They are.
So, what was your initial reaction when Roe v. Wade was overturned?
First of all, it was relief because we had seen the leak, 6 weeks, almost 2 months earlier.
Right.
So for that entire time, I was thinking, is it going to change? Will a justice change, his or her mind? So when it actually came out, very similar to the actual leak, and it was a huge relief that they had, what had come out was actually what was happening.
Right. They stuck to it.
They stuck to it, and I think some exhilaration, but it was also a realization that we've got a lot of work to do.
Yep. So it doesn't ban abortion. The overturn of Roe v. Wade just sends it back to the states. So now what people have to do is get involved at their local and state level to try to push their state legislatures to get involved. What is your message to get these constituents involved to make sure that their state is passing pro-life legislation?
There's a couple different messages. One, we need to be electing pro-life candidates. Candidates who will vote and work to protect unborn children. We've got several states in the country that have already done that because they had, the so-called trigger laws. So that once Roe was overturned, their law would immediately or very soon after go into effect. And we've got other states that when their legislature gets back together again, it might be January after the elections, that they would be willing and able to pass pro-life legislation. So we're going to be working on that, and we need to be electing pro-life candidates at every level. But there is also the concern, and I believe it's a serious threat, our opponents are not going to let any pro-life law stand. It's not like, well, these states are protecting unborn children, these states are protecting abortion, and we're just going to settle for that and be happy. Well, I know we would not be settling for that because we would then be going to the states that are protecting abortion saying, we need to change these laws, we need to elect new candidates, there are new officials. They are going to be doing the same thing. They're not happy with pro-life laws.
Right.
And we are already seeing the efforts to put measures on the ballot so that the people will be voting, and with the lies that they are telling, we've got a lot of work to do to make sure that the truth gets out and people know what they are voting on.
Right. With the midterm election coming up, a lot of Democrats feel the need to really push this abortion situation to get the Democrats out and voting. Do you think that the Democrats really stand a chance with this narrative and using that as their pin focal point of their agenda in this upcoming midterm election?
It will influence many people to get out and vote. It will make a difference for some. The difference is that we talk about the truth, and they are going to be putting forth lies. We have already seen them trying to scare women, saying that if you have an ectopic pregnancy, or even if you have a miscarriage and the baby is dead, you're not going to be able to get treated because the doctors will be too afraid to do anything, thinking they're going to be charged with abortion. Those lies are out there, and we have to counter it because we've got a lot of women who are scared. They really think that doctors are not going to take care of them. And that is just so horrible on so many levels because those doctors are trained. They know exactly what to do. 85 to 90% of the OB-GYNs in the country don't do abortions now. And they've been taking care of women for many years. So we have to counter the lies that are going to be coming from the Democratic candidates, from the abortion industry, from the Biden administration. We've got the truth, and we need to make sure on the counter, the flip side, that everybody knows if they're voting for pro-abortion candidates, they are supporting abortion for all 9 months of pregnancy for any reason, and they want our tax dollars to pay for it.
Right, and you brought up earlier education, and then you just mentioned ectopic pregnancy. For the viewers, can you explain what an ectopic pregnancy is and how it's not an abortion?
Sure. When this new life has been formed, it's moving through the fallopian tubes into the uterus. It will attach to the uterus, he or she will attach to the uterus and grow for the next, roughly 9 months. There are some pregnancies where that newly formed life maybe gets stalled in the fallopian tube, and if that embryo continues to grow, the fallopian tube can burst and the woman, her life is in danger. She could die. Right. So that is a case where doctors know what to do. Right. They can remove the embryo. Now, several years ago we heard talk that maybe they could try removing the embryo from the fallopian tube and implanting it in the uterus so it continues to grow. I'm not seeing that happen yet, but this is definitely a life-threatening situation for a woman, and she needs to get medical care to protect herself.
The definition of abortion and the purpose of an abortion is to terminate the pregnancy solely, to get rid of the child. This is to save the mother's life, and it just so happens that sometimes that the pregnancy is terminated, but that is not the sole thing. And that is one of the main points that I see out in the streets talking to these people is they think that, if we ban abortion in these states, that they're not going to get the medical treatment, and that's just flat out a lie.
It is. Unfortunately, there are some doctors that are perpetrating the lie by, talking to reporters and saying, well, I don't know if I should be taking care of a woman in this situation because I might be charged with an abortion. Right. They know better.
Right. You talk to the medical field, you talk to the doctors, they know the definitions, they know what the difference is. And it's the media and these far left radical people who continue to push this. I think it's scare tactics, honestly.
It is, definitely.
That's Democrat playbook, play one from their playbook that they constantly use.
Another lie that they're putting forward is that we want to put women in jail.
Right.
And a lot of people know women who've had an abortion, and they're thinking, do I want my wife in jail? Do I want my daughter in jail? Do I want my sister in jail? And that immediately sets up a barrier that we then have to overcome. So no, we want to go after the doctors that are killing babies.
Exactly.
But not the women. So again, another scare tactic, a lie that is being promulgated.
Right, and another thing that I'm constantly hearing is, as a guy, you don't get an opinion. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely not. No, men have as much responsibility to protect unborn children as women do. I like to use the example, if you're walking down through a neighborhood and you see a little 2-year-old in the swimming pool about to drown, you've got a responsibility to jump in and save that baby. So I would think, men need to stand up. They are protectors. They should be proud of that descriptor, and they need to speak up. And especially if it is their girlfriend,
Yes.
a sister, mother, friend, neighbor, encourage her in every way to, care for the child, be there to help. Men need to take responsibility.
Yeah, amen. I totally agree. Before we continue, I want to play a clip real fast of what it was like being outside of SCOTUS the day that Roe v. Wade was overturned. Take a look.
My choice! 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 My choice!
So seeing that, what is your reaction? I mean, these people are almost like demons.
They are loud, they are angry, they are pushy. I guess I think that comes back to whether or not you respect human life.
Right.
I mean, I disagree with people, but I would rather have either a discussion or talk to them. I think because if you respect life, you're going to respect other people.
Right.
And obviously, they don't.
Right. Do you think this is Satan's agenda here on earth? Like part of it?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I've been doing this for a few months, and that was the one and only time that I actually felt threatened. I was like actually scared for like my personal safety, and you could see her, and if you're up close and personal with her, her eyes were shaking, her whole body was shaking, and and it's funny to watch and like laugh at it as it's happening, but in hindsight, as a Christian, it's like I think to myself, I should have just stopped and prayed over her, and I think that's.
It would have been fun to see her reaction.
Right. But I think as especially Christians, that's one of the main things that we can do is pray for these women. A lot of women go through awful traumatic events that lead to pregnancy, but there's pro-life centers out there who help these women get through. One of the women that I talked to outside of SCOTUS was saying that pro-life centers actually hurt and destroy women. What's your reaction to that?
The abortion industry does not like pregnancy resource centers because that, one, saves a baby, which kind of defeats the purpose of what they're trying to do. They take money away from the abortion industry, and they show that pro-lifers really are loving, caring people. We want to help women through a difficult time. Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts has introduced a bill. She is trying to get rid of pro-life pregnancy centers. They think they are evil because they won't refer a woman for an abortion, which, I think it was maybe before we started this interview, you mentioned that they aren't pro-choice, they're pro-abortion. They really are. They don't think there should be any choice but abortion.
Correct. I mean, that's why I think it's Satan's agenda. What is right is now wrong, and what's wrong is now right in their eyes.
And the most defenseless human being among us is the most vulnerable and the one that they're targeting.
Right. Before I let you go, we are hoping and praying that the GOP takes back the House and the Senate. What is next for the pro-life movement when that happens?
I think you're going to see a lot of discussion among the members as to what they can do. There are some that certainly believe 10th Amendment means these are issues that should be for the states, but I think there certainly is a role for Congress, and it could vary. I mean, it might mean if they could at least make sure that our tax dollars are not promoting abortion in any way. Maybe they can do something that would say parents should be notified if their minor daughter is being taken across state lines to get an abortion. I know that there are several in Congress who are also interested in, something more like a heartbeat bill or maybe 15 weeks. There are just a lot of issues out there. And at this point, I'm saying I will support anything that's going to protect unborn children.
Amen. What's your final message to those who, are thinking about getting an abortion, who are going through troubling and struggling times? What's that final message to them before we go?
There are too many women in this country who have gone through an abortion and they are speaking out, encouraging other women not to make the same mistake. That is a precious child, a new human life that is growing inside of you, and that is such a special gift. That things might be hard, but reach out, let people know that you need help, but don't end that life, because that does something to you personally. So, speak up, reach out. I certainly would assume and hope that adoption is something that a woman would seriously consider. If she doesn't want the child, doesn't think she can raise the child, let a family love and take care of that child for her.
Yeah, there's over 2 times more pro-life centers out there than there are Planned Parenthood and abortion clinics.
There are, I think last I saw, about 2,700 pregnancy centers in this country willing to help a woman through that difficult time.
There are resources out there. We hope that you find them. But before you go, where can people find more information about what you do, and what's your social medias that people can follow?
Website is just nrlc.org for National Right to Life Committee, but no T. nrlc.org. We are on all social media platforms. It's usually under NRLC, so I would just, look that up. I don't want to just list them all off. But.
Perfect. Well, Carol, Tobias, thank you for joining me. Continue the fight. Our work isn't done yet, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your time here at CPAC.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
And thank you all for watching CPAC Now. We'll see you next time. God bless.